Hello and welcome back to another episode of Maddie's Rap, the show where we rap about things that guys rap about when we're hanging out in the sports bar, the gym, the barbershop, you name it. And I'm back with the one and only Brian Moore of the Be More Faithful radio show. Brian, how you doing today, brother?
Well, you know what? You said 4. That was my number when I played football, number 44.
Wow, that slipped out. That was that 40. I mean, how did I know that, right? I didn't know. I didn't know it.
Good, glad to be on your show today, man.
Well, thank you. How long has it been since we
We were actually right after Labor Day in September was the last time we had our conversation on your Maddie's Rap, and I really enjoyed it. We talked about so many things, and we're going to talk about a lot of things today as well, Matt.
Right. Well, I got to tell you, it has been a while. I mean, the time has changed now, and that's not what we're talking about today.
Mm-hmm.
But one of the things I would like to see in this highly charged political season that we're in, and we're not going to talk politics because I tell you at Maddie's Rap, we try to stay away from it. There's a lot to talk about there, but we try to stay away from that. But just on a slight political note, Brian, I would love for some politician to step up and say, hey, daylight savings time has ended. Let's keep it going.
I agree with that. It really doesn't matter whether you get more daylight or less daylight. The fact of the matter is it's kind of confusing, and it's probably cost a lot of people their jobs or some situations because they forgot to change the time, and they're either late or whatever. So, hey, I don't have any objections to that, my brother.
You know what? This isn't the subject matter of what we're talking about today, but I want to know, what do you think about what we're talking about today? So let's get into it, Brian. We got a lot to talk about. And today, folks, what we're going to be doing is we're going to be splitting this into multiple segments. I've heard feedback from some of you offline about with regards to the length of the show. And this is my man from way back. So when we get started talking, it could easily be 90 minutes that have rolled by and we've not even missed it. But for the benefit of you watching out there, we're going to split this into several segments. So the first segment we're going to be talking about today, Brian, what should we talk about? Should we talk about Harriet or should we talk about the Clemson? You know what? Let's talk about Clemson first. I want to save this for Harriet. Let's talk about Clemson.
Okay, now this is the sports portion of Maddie's Rap.
Sports.
Okay, but go ahead. You tell me, what do you think?
Well, Brian, I got to tell you, we're talking about the Clemson Tigers. Those of you that know me know that I'm a Clemson Tigers fan, football-wise anyway. Basketball, Tar Heels, and you might wonder how is that split up. For those of you watching that don't know this, I'm originally a New Yorker, but I now live in the Carolinas, so I don't really pledge allegiance to a team across the board. I like football, I like basketball. I grew up watching Michael Jordan play for the North Carolina Tar Heels and the Clemson Tiger football. Their defense from back in the 80s through today to me has always been paramount, and I love defense. So that's why I'm a Clemson Tiger fan, but enough about that. Brian, after last weekend was over, what I noticed was that the college football playoff committee, they snubbed my Clemson Tigers. Now I know it's early, but they got us at number 5 and got us sitting outside looking in. I got a problem with that.
Well, here's the thing, Matt, with Clemson, and I like Clemson too as well. Matter of fact, I'll be going to see them tomorrow as they played the Wolfpack of North Carolina State. By the way, my son, he was a football player at North Carolina State, and he got us tickets for the game tomorrow. So I'm looking forward to the game. Back to Clemson, though. They have been a great team pretty much all season, with the exception of the game with North Carolina, which was a close game, and they could have lost the game.
They could have.
And they came out on the winning end of that North Carolina game. But other than that, they pretty much throttled teams that they played all season. Now, you got to look at the way the polls are set up. Alabama is always number 1 and number 2. They just, for some reason, the polls always puts Alabama in that first or second position. LSU has been a big surprise this year. Who would have thought LSU would have been as good as they have been this year? They have really been extraordinary. Matter of fact, they are the number 1 ranked team based on this college football poll. Is that correct?
I hadn't looked at it. I got a little bit perturbed when I found, and I didn't want to look at it anymore because I know these things change from week to week. So. Okay,
so then you got you got Ohio. Excuse me,
it's Ohio State. It's Ohio State's number 1.
My bad. So it's Ohio State because I was looking at
the last time I saw it, Brian. I thought it was Ohio State, Bama, LSU, and then Penn State.
Okay.
I mean, but maybe they flip-flopped LSU and Alabama, maybe?
Well, let's get down to the top 4 because that's what's
based
on.
Those are the 4.
Is the playoffs would represent those 4.
Right.
Clemson basically top 4 all season. All of a sudden, this poll comes out and they get pushed out of the top 4.
Mm-hmm.
Well, you know, and I know that LSU and Alabama played this weekend. So one of those teams is can't stay in the top 4.
That's right.
Regardless of who wins or loses, somebody got to come out of that top 4.
That's right.
Penn State and Ohio State have the game, I think, in a couple of weeks or within the next couple of weeks. Loser of that one's going to have to come out of the top 4. Plus, Ohio State still got to play Michigan as well.
So
So
it sounds almost like you're thinking the way I'm thinking, that you CFP guys out there that do these things, Brian, I think they were just trying to create drama.
Yeah.
I mean, first of all, if you look at Clemson offensively, we are just as stellar as we were last year.
Oh,
we got the same guy quarterback, and he's got a year experience under his belt and a national title under his belt. So he's playing. Trevor Lawrence is playing at.
Trevor Lawrence is going to be a first-round draft pick next year in the NFL.
No question about it. So he's playing phenomenally. He's playing. To me, he looks even sharper than he did last year. The defense, a good friend of mine, an Army buddy. We call him Baby Al. If you're watching this, you know what I'm talking about.
You heard that, Baby Al. You heard that from Maddie's rap.
Yeah, Baby Al. And you know what, guys, as an aside, both of us are veterans, Army veterans.
Oh, yeah.
We're going to do a segment one day where we're just sharing some funny stories that happened to us when we were on active duty.
Can't
Getting back to that, Baby Al, he calls me up and he says, Matt, your Clemson defense sucks. And I said, whoa. That's a little bit of a harsh statement for a defending national champion that has not lost a game, okay? Now, I'm just a little bit salty, but I know what it is. The bowl committee, or not the bowl committee, but the college football playoff committee, I believe they wanted to create some drama. The thing is, there's no way, like you said, 2 of those 4 players are going to work themselves out, because you can't have those same guys in there if one of them loses.
The only issue might be if Alabama loses close to LSU, and then if Alabama, the way I see Clemson, the only way they're not going to make the playoffs, that's just me, they'd have to lose the ACC championship. They got one more tough game left with Wake Forest, because they're going to throttle North Carolina State this weekend. I believe they will.
Right.
And then I think Wake Forest, even though they've only lost one game, they got to go on the road to Clemson. So I believe that Clemson should win that Wake Forest game. And then you got the ACC championship game, and that's going to either be it could be Wake Forest again. No, let me see. Wake Forest in the same division. No, it would either have to be one of the teams from the other division.
Right,
and
right,
I'm not
right.
Sure
You got the
who that
Atlantic
team-
and the Coastal.
Yeah.
But let me back up just a little bit.
Sure.
So let me ask you a question. To what degree do you feel like the CFP committee was trying to send a message to Dabo Swinney? Because, he's been all over the news lately.
Well,
I mean, he's been very vocal. He's probably the most vocal college football head coach this season.
yeah, but he got a proven track record. He got 2 national championships. I mean, hey, he's other than Nick Saban, he's the guy.
Yeah. So I don't know. Maybe. So do you feel like they were trying to send him a message with their rankings, or no?
Nah.
Okay, so
I don't think it was. I think that this is all.
You think it has more to do with that North Carolina close near miss?
Here's the thing. I think where everybody's getting on Dabo and the Clemson Tigers is the strength of schedule. The ACC is down this year. The Florida States ain't any good. They just fired their coach. The Miamis aren't that good.
I can't argue with that.
And then you got, those are some of the teams you would think would be good. None of the Carolina schools are any good. Virginia Tech, they might meet them in that particular game. Syracuse, big disappointment. So I'm just looking at the ACC as a whole. It's just down this year.
It's down.
That's the bottom line.
But here's the thing: Clemson cannot be punished for being the class football team of a bad conference, because we've played in a national title game the last 4 years straight. 4 consecutive years.
Proven
the
team.
Clemson Tigers have played against the Alabama Crimson Tide and have been the number 1 or number 2 team in the country.
Proven team.
Proven team. So I don't think you can punish them for that. And if you're going to punish anybody, yeah, we had a near miss against North Carolina, but Alabama has played against more teams with losing records this season than has Clemson. So nobody's talking about that. But let me ask you if you have any final thoughts, because I want to get I get passionate about what I see as injustice. And do you have any final thoughts on this before we wrap up this segment?
I know you love your Tigers. Don't worry, my brother. Let me pat you on the shoulder. Don't worry. They'll be in the top 4
They'll be
at
the
the end
top
of the
4.
year. Now, the question would be, how will they be positioned in the top 4? Do you want to play Alabama in that first week, or would you rather play Ohio State?
You know what, Brian? That's a great question. I would have to say that the way this is probably going to pan out, Clemson's probably going to end up playing Alabama in the semifinal. I don't want that.
No,
I don't want to see Clemson play Alabama anymore.
You want them, but you want to see them playing for the final game. I think that made the reason why they won that game last year, because Alabama went in favored in that game last year.
Yes, they did.
And for some reason, I think when the chips were higher, it just seemed like Clemson rose to the occasion.
Yeah.
And not only did they beat Alabama, they throttled them last year.
They did. Our defense, you know,
that's the best beat down on Nick Saban ever.
Yeah, you know, and to my boy Baby Al's point, Clemson, I wouldn't say Clemson sucks this year, but Clemson's defense is not as good as it was last year.
They lost 5 guys to the NFL on that line. That secondary.
That's exactly right.
You can't lose players to the NFL and think you can
not have somebody coming up behind them.
Absolutely.
So, you know, Brian, just to wrap this segment up,
sure.
My preferred college football playoff structure would be a first-round matchup where Ohio State plays Alabama, and then Clemson plays whoever that other team is in there.
Team is, right.
I don't want to see, but I can't see Alabama being seeded number 4 unless they lose to LSU.
That's what I said. If Alabama loses close, they're still in it.
Yeah.
That's just me, because now Alabama even supersedes Clemson as far as brand.
Right.
They want eyeballs because it's television too. You got to remember.
Yes.
Most people want to see Alabama as one of those teams. So if they lose close to LSU, I think they could still be the team that could move into that top 4.
Yeah, you know, and my friend Baby Al, he made that point too.
Right.
Yeah.
Because like you said, Ohio State and Penn State, one of those teams are going to lose when they play. That's going to happen.
And so my
one
point
of them
to him,
is getting eliminated.
One's going to get well, maybe not eliminated. And see, that's my point that my man Baby Al was saying. He said that you can't take a team like an Oregon and put them in the top 4, even if Bama or LSU loses or Ohio State loses.
No.
But if Clemson loses, I will tell you,
they gone.
Yeah.
They know if they lose one game, it's over.
They're gunning for us. They have been. They already don't want us in there because of how weak the ACC is.
It's gonna be over.
But I'll say this: our toughest game left, in my opinion, is South Carolina, and South Carolina just has a chip on their shoulder. And they went in there and beat Georgia, and they played Alabama tough. So South Carolina is going to be coming for us, but I think we're going to put that game in on ice in the first half.
Maddie's Rap listeners or viewers, South Carolina will get throttled by Clemson.
I got a lot of you out there that I went to Rock Hill High School with that love your diehard Gamecocks, and you know these. I don't get Gamecock fans, Brian. I'm going to say this before we wrap this segment up.
Okay.
So if you're in South Carolina, you're typically pulling for one team or the other. Mm-hmm. I'm making this observation as someone who's born in New York, but finished out his high school years here in South Carolina from halfway through the 8th grade, 9th grade, on up through senior in high school now. Mm-hmm. I have not understood this dichotomy that you have between Clemson fans and South Carolina fans, where if South Carolina is playing and Clemson's having a down year, the average Clemson fan will pull for South Carolina if they're playing somebody else because, well, hey, they're representing the state of South Carolina.
Right.
South Carolina Gamecock fans, on the other hand,
they're not pulling for nobody.
They are not pulling. If Clemson is playing, they're pulling for the other team.
Well, the same
even
thing.
If South Carolina's not in.
Well, I'm from North Carolina, and it's the same thing with Chapel Hill. Nobody from NC State, Wake Forest, or Duke is gonna pull for Carolina at anything.
Wow,
that ain't gonna happen.
Well, listen, we're gonna wrap up this segment on college football, and we're gonna tune in our next segment. We're gonna be talking about Harriet Tubman, the movie.
Can't wait.
So you guys tune in. We're gonna clip this segment here, and for Maddie's Rap, Brian, you have any other final?
No. We are going to see how this football thing is going to end in January. How about that? Listen, thank you for watching Maddie's Rap. Your host, Matt D. Talford, author Matt D. Talford. If you want to see what I've written, check out the links below. And then my man Brian Moore here. He's the host of the Be More Faithful radio show. Brian, give him a real quick plug. When is your show on, and what channel? How can they get to it? Okay, we air on Praise 100.9 on Sunday night. The Be More Faithful radio show is a half hour of inspiration, information, and entertainment with me and my wife Sarah Moore. We aim to work with the faith community or talk to the faith community so that people don't know, they can come to our show on Sunday night right before you get ready to go to your Monday morning routine to just be entertained and inspired and informed before you get to your next day. That's what me and my wife, our whole thing is about, making sure that those things are happening on our radio show.
Now, Brian is based in the Charlotte market, but Brian, if they're outside of Charlotte, how can they get to see your show?
Okay, there's a couple of ways you can look at our show or listen to our show. I keep saying looking because we're on video.
Right.
To hear our show, you can go listen to it on regular radio. It's 100.9 on the FM dial if you're in the Charlotte market, Mecklenburg, Gaston, Lincoln, counties around Mecklenburg County. But if you want to check us out on the internet, you go to my website, which is bmfradioshow.com. Click on to the Listen Live Radio button. Or if once we go off the air at around 10:30, about 10:45, I'll load up my audio podcast right after that, so you can go back and listen to the podcast thereafter that. Or you can go to the station website, which is praisecharlotte.com.
All right. Well, for my co-host here, Brian Moore, I'm Matt D. Topper with Matty's Rap. It's a rap. Peace.
Peace.